I'm so excited for this. Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute. It's been actually several minutes. It's been, I think, 4 months. I think the last time I uploaded something was in January. I'm sorry. Welcome back, you guys. I'm so excited for today's video. I'm so excited to be back on YouTube. I love YouTube. This summer, I'm going to try to be super consistent on YouTube because I honestly do love making YouTube videos. But this semester has been absolutely terrible. Shout out to every professor who does not understand that we're still in a global pandemic and stresses all their students out. Thank you. It's been super busy between school and my job and Stefania and everything else I have going on, so I just haven't had time to like sit down, record a YouTube video and edit it because there's a lot that goes into it. You don't realize it until you do it. Also, you guys, if you haven't already, I'm so excited about this. By the time this video gets uploaded, I think there will only be a week left on the merch drop, but be nice to your baristas. Merch shop is back. Our t-shirts, hoodies, there's a hat for those of you who've been requesting hats. I mean, we're going into the warmer months, so a t-shirt will be 2 chef's kisses. Okay, without further ado, the moment we've all been waiting for. All the reasons that I quit Starbucks Coffee Company. Let's go. Where's my dog? Let me preface this entire video, and honestly, let me preface all of my TikTok content with saying this. Starbucks is not a bad company to work for. There are definitely worse companies to work for. Free drinks, free food. I mean, if you get a good store, the people you're working with, your managers are all gonna be amazing. Overall, it just depends on where you're working and who you're working with, and that's kind of what's going to dictate your experience, your overall experience. I shouldn't even say unfortunately, but for lack of a better word, unfortunately, I didn't really luck out in that department, which is kind of the reason why I have all these stories and I feel the way I do about Starbucks. So let me just say, it's not all doom and gloom. There are tons of people out there that I know who have amazing experiences with Starbucks, and rightfully so. It's not a bad company to work for. But this video primarily is just going to focus, I hate to say this, focus on the bad. You want to know why I quit, and I mean, is there really ever a good reason as to why somebody quit a job? Well, maybe, actually, yeah, there probably is. I've just never experienced that yet. Let me tell you the main events, the main experiences that made me quit my 3 stores. For those of you who don't know, I worked at 3 stores, a licensed store and 2 corporate stores. I started working for Starbucks in March of 2016 and I quit in August of 2019 with a small break in between because I took some time off when I first went to college. I started working for my licensed Starbucks when I was 16. I was freshly 16, it was my first job. Location was inside of a Target. Honestly, overall, it wasn't a bad experience. My manager was super cool. The only thing, though, about this store was it was all girls. All high school or college girls working there. For the most part, we were a pretty close-knit team. Like, we really didn't have issues with each other. There was a girl who worked at that location. She did not work in Starbucks full-time. She worked in a different department of Target that was right next to the Starbucks. And how do I say this nicely? She made life a living hell when you were working there. She was just so catty and dramatic and rude and backstabbing. Like, you could not be friends with this girl if you even tried. Like, she's the type of person to be nice to your face and immediately turn around and just like talk a bunch of shit about you, which that's just not my vibe. It's never been my vibe. The thing is that this girl and my manager were super tight. So I was under the impression for like the first like 4 or 5 months of me working there that me and my manager were like super tight. No. Like, she was nice to me, like she liked me, I liked her. But as time went on, it became more and more apparent that the girl who started all the drama and my manager were really good friends for a reason. It would kind of like start a bunch of drama, like talk bad about a lot of people. Actually, one of my coworkers walked into work one day, like walked behind the counter and heard my manager and that girl talking shit about her. It was just like, I don't know. It was just a weird vibe, and there was actually a corporate store near me that had an opening, and I was like, hold on, I work like 30 hours a week at this store. I mean, over the summer, I was working 40 hours a week at this location. And I was like, wait a minute, I could be doing the same exact thing, but getting full Starbucks benefits, partner numbers. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna be spending all this time working for Starbucks, like I might as well work and get their benefits, their free Spotify, their free drinks, all that stuff. It just seemed more appealing to me. Ended up leaving that location, and my corporate store, this is my second store now, they had an opening for me. I started, I loved it. I've said this in my past videos. If you're new here, I made a video a few months ago saying, here's what you need to know. I can't even remember what the title is. Hold on, let me look at it. What it's really like working for Starbucks. I'll link it down below. I'll try to figure out how to link it somewhere on the screen. Technology is just really advanced these days. I mentioned this in that video, that you need to figure out what the vibe is before you start. So what I mean by that, and I'll elaborate because this is what I was talking about when I said that point in that video. I had first started at the second store. It was in the summertime. I was mornings for the first, I want to say 2 or 3 months of me working there, and more often than not, the morning crew tends to be more mature, a little bit older. It's kind of like everyone that I was working with was above the age of 25. As I went back to school, so now I'm a senior in high school. I started my school year, so obviously I had to switch from being mornings to being nights, and even on the weekends, I would work like 2 to 10:30 every weekend. As I started to migrate into working with the night crew, I really liked them. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think they're really cool people. However, they were definitely a lot more dramatic, a lot more petty, a lot more catty than the morning crew was. And that's primarily because there's a lot more time at night to kind of sit around and chit chat, talk, kind of get into each other's business. We had that time to talk and kind of get to know each other on a deeper level. I mean, one person is sweeping, the other one's cleaning the espresso machines. What do we all have in common? We all have headsets on. We're talking the entire time. Also, we figured out how to like rig the headset so like you do a certain thing. Oh God, what was it? You take the battery out and then you hold down A and B and put the battery back in while you're holding it down. And that makes it so if once you hit the middle button to talk to the other people on the headset, you don't have to hold it down, you just hit it and it keeps going. So you could just be talking. So that's literally, I know it's like against Starbucks rules, I think, to do that. Whatever, I don't work there anymore, I don't care. So too, I was 17 at the time, so I definitely got treated like that. Next youngest person was 21. So everyone at my store was 21 and up, and then I was 17, so like, my age came up all the time. Apart from that, I can deal with that. The one thing about this store that really infuriated me was management. Not my shifts. The GM, who no longer works, I don't even think she works at Starbucks at all anymore. She was, for lack of a better word, for lack of a kinder word, terrible at her job. Requesting time off was so unbelievably difficult with her. I remember there was so many times that I would request off like a month in advance, 2 months in advance, and I would get told no. The cherry on top was when I got screamed at in the back room. There's one person that I worked with who was training to be a shift manager, and he would non-stop talk shit about everyone, including this one shift manager who I liked. There was one time that we were all working together. I was like 20 minutes from clocking out. I was sweeping, and of course, him and a couple of the other like kind of petty people I worked with were all talking shit about this shift manager. And I will say, I shouldn't have done this. I was 17, or maybe I was 18, I don't remember. But this manager had kind of done something a few days prior to kind of piss me off a little bit. And they were all talking about her. And I remember I chimed in. I don't know why I did this, but I chimed in and I literally just told them what she did that kind of aggravated me a little bit. I wasn't like, yeah, that bitch. Like, no. I was not saying even close to any of the stuff that they were saying. I was just telling them, like, what happened. I go to the back room to go clock out. It's my time to leave. This manager, this soon-to-be manager, in the back, and is like, hey, before you leave, can I talk to you? And I was like, yeah, what's up? He starts yelling at me, saying, I don't know why you talk shit about this manager. She does everything for you. She's blah, blah, like, going off on me. And my little 18-year-old ass is standing there, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? You were just shitting on her, like, not even 30 seconds ago. He's screaming at me. So I go to get a word in, and I'm like, what? Like, what? He yells at me and says, I'm talking, I'm the manager now, you listen to me. I was like, what? let a man talk to me like that now, he's getting his head chopped off. But I was 18 back then. I was scared. I was nervous. I was not the woman that I am today. The next day, I put my 2-week in because I was like, fuck this job. This has been a year of just drama and bullshit and shit and people judging my life and people being so up in my business and me never getting time off, me never being treated like a human being. I'm only ever treated like I'm an employee, which, by the way, that's another thing I have to bring up. It is a big thing that is wrong with Starbucks is that they don't treat you like you're a human being. They treat you like you're an employee first. With that Starbucks, farewell. I may or may not have stolen white mocha and mango dragon fruit boxes on my way out. You didn't hear that from me for legal reasons. That's a joke. Then I went to my third store. I transferred universities and I got to the university that I'm at right now and I started working for the Starbucks that is in the town over from here. It's very close. People at that location were very mature. They were very cool. I loved those people. I have nothing but good things to say about all of my coworkers at my third store. I loved them and I wish them so much happiness. They are such great people. Management, once again, management. So it was kind of a mix of management as well as my own personal mental health state at the time. So when I had transferred universities, I obviously didn't know a whole lot of people here when I got here. Within the first month of me being here, my boyfriend and I broke up. I lost pretty much all of my friends because they all were also his friends too. I had a couple of friends still here that were still like truly my friends, but we shared a lot of the same friends and they pretty much all ditched me after him and I broke up. I don't know, not great people. Well, I was going through just like a really rough time for a few months, just adjusting to a new place. I was living alone and I just wasn't in a good mental health state. It happens, people go through things. Starbucks was not understanding of that at all. I mean, it was to the point where my parents were calling me several times a day because they were genuinely concerned about my mental health state and me being alone all the time and me working 40 hours a week, which, if you've seen my videos, if you work at Starbucks, you know the vibes. You know that working at Starbucks, you just get bitched at all day. It was not good for someone who was already having such a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. I would go to Starbucks and they would either stick me on drive-through every shift, the entire shift, when I had expressed to them several times like, hey, you know, I kind of want to make drinks. I'm really good on bar. Can I make drinks? There just comes a time where you just don't want to be nonstop talking to people all the time, day in and day out, especially when you're getting rude customer after rude customer after rude customer after rude customer. It's a lot. Either that or I was on customer support and it would mostly be me in the back room washing dishes and our sink was in the corner where it was kind of dark. So it would either be me on drive-thru getting shit on or it would be me in the dark back room washing dishes with my own thoughts. One of my managers was very micromanagey. I mean, she was a nice person, but very micromanagey. So now imagine that on top of being micromanaged every 2 seconds. Why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing it this way? Oh my God. I wanted to scream at her, which one time I low-key yelled at her. She kind of deserved it though. Really came down to it was I had expressed to my managers that I am not in the best mental health state. I need to go to therapy. I started going to therapy shortly after I quit Starbucks, but I was like, I need a moment to breathe from this job, and they did not give me that whatsoever. And again, it was the whole, you are an employee first and then you're a human being, which seems to be kind of the vibe with a lot of stores. So the cherry on top of this store that made me realize like I just need to get away from Starbucks. I have had mostly bad experience. I mean, there was obviously some good sprinkled into that, but when I look back on it, I'm just like, wow, I was so stressed out and just not looking forward to going to work all the time. Like, yes, there were good moments, but I'm gonna be honest with you, like, at the end of the day, looking back on it, I'm kind of just like, you know, it was one of those situations where the bad moments kind of outweighed the good moments just a little bit. Very on top for me leaving Starbucks permanently was when school had started and I was in 16 credit hours and I had to take it was a week before school started actually. I had to take a placement test for one of my math classes. So I had told my manager that I was like, I'm gonna be 30 minutes late because I have to take a placement test and it runs over, whatever. So I got there and my store manager wrote me up for being late, even though I had told him, and my shift manager as well, that I will be late because of a placement test, and I told them in advance. So I was just like, here we go again. So I am now an employee in front of being a student. And so that was just my cherry on top. That's pretty much the gist of it, of why I quit. Just always feeling underappreciated. First store, drama. The second store, drama and being screamed at. The third store, no drama, thank God, but just management not giving half a shit about people's mental health. Oh God, I will never forget this one time I was on drive-thru at my third store, and I was just having such a bad day. Like, I was 2 seconds away from just breaking down and crying, and one of my coworkers drew me a little doodle on a napkin and wrote, "Hey, you okay?" and slid it to me. I was like, so that's what I'm saying. I wish nothing but the best for my third store coworkers. I want to just, I want to have a big group hug with them. I love them so much. They are amazing. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you get a good store with good coworkers, it's amazing. It's just, it just depends. It just depends. Okay, guys, have an amazing day. Be nice to somebody today. Be nice to a fucking barista. God, they deserve it. How do YouTubers usually wrap up videos? I don't know. Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye.